Ridge Racer Type 4 is an arcade-style racing game that was developed by Namco for the PlayStation. It was released in Japan in 1998, then in North America and Europe the following year in 1999. It was deemed a commercial success, particularly in Japan, the US and the UK, selling well over 1 million copies. It was the last Ridge Racer game released on the PlayStation 1 and the first in the series where the player can actually see Reiko Nagase performing her duties as race queen. She appears as a flag girl before the start of each race in the Grand Prix. Fun fact about Reiko, it turns out she has a sister called Kay, who's actually got nothing to do with Ridge Racer and is in fact a pilot for the Ace Combat series. So random. There are different gameplay modes to choose from, including time trial and verse battle, but the main game is played here in Grand Prix. When entering, the player is presented with 4 racing teams. RC Micro Mouse Mappy is a French team that's managed by Sophie Chevalier. Their racing colours are red, blue and white, and the tuning is set to easy difficulty. Their name was inspired by an arcade game called Mappy, and the cars are renowned for their ease of handling. Pack Racing Club, or PRC, is a Japanese team managed by Shinji Yazaki. Their cars are painted red and yellow and tuned for medium difficulty. Their name is inspired by Pac-Man, and these cars are generally considered the most well balanced in the game. Racing Solvalu is an Italian team managed by Enkai Gilbert. Their cars are painted grey and tuned to hard difficulty. The team's name is inspired by the starship in a game called Xevious, and their cars are built for high performance. Dig Racing Team, or DRT, is an American team managed by Robert Chrisman. Their cars are painted light blue and tuned to expert difficulty. Their name refers to a game called Dig Dug, and although once a winning team, they now find themselves in a slump due to financial restrictions. Once the player has picked the team they want to race for, they'll then need to pick which manufacturer's cars they would like to drive. Once again, there are 4 choices to choose from: Assoluto, who are Italian; Lizard, who are American; Tarazi, who are Japanese; and Age Solo, who are French. When picking a manufacturer, the main difference, apart from the car's aesthetics, is how it handles. Assoluto and Lizard make cars that specialise in drifting. This allows the player to slide around corners in true arcade racing style, whilst Tarazi and Age Solo make cars that are tuned to focus more on grip. Cars that are tuned for grip can't slide as well, however, they are able to take corners at higher speeds without losing as much momentum. The Grand Prix is called
Real Racing Roots 99
and consists of a total of 8 races over 3 heats. The first heat has 2 courses, Helter Skelter and Wonderhill. Helter Skelter is pretty easy and makes for a good introduction course. It's made up of mostly straights and hasn't got many tight turns. Wonderhill is slightly tougher but still fairly easy. The corners are tighter in places, but most of the track is still fairly open, which allows room to pass on the high-speed straights. In order to qualify for the second heat, the player will need to finish at least 3rd in both of these races. If they don't make the cut, they'll be given the opportunity to retry, although retries are only good for a few goes before it's game over. The second heat also consists of 2 courses, which are called Edge of the Earth and Out of Blue. Before beginning, the player receives an upgraded car which arrives fresh out the back of a truck with a new and improved top speed. Edge of the Earth is a fairly high speed course which is set at night. It has lots of twists and turns, including a pretty memorable hairpin about a quarter of the way in. Out of Blue is a moderately difficult course. It shares part of its track with Helter Skelter, including the hairpin at the end before the finish line. To qualify for the final heat, the player needs to finish at least 2nd in each of these 2 courses. Assuming they do so, they'll receive a newer and even more improved car to race in. The final heat consists of 4 races, and in order to progress to the end, the player will need to finish in first place in all of them. The first course is called Phantom Isle, and it's the shortest track in the game. It's a fairly wide and high speed course, although due to its size, there's little room for error. The next course is called Brightest Night, and it kind of works as an extended version of Edge of the Earth. One distinct feature from this track is the long downhill straight, which has a sudden and very tight bend at the end of it. The third course is called Heaven and Hell because, well, the shape of the track resembles heaven and hell. When racing here, the player may feel that they've already been here. This feeling of deja vu isn't a sign of madness. The entire first half of the track is shared with Wonderhill from the first heat. Before moving on to the final race, the player will receive their fourth and final car upgrade. It's usually styled like a car you might expect to see racing in Le Mans, and its top speed will be somewhere around 200 miles per hour. The final course is called Shooting Hoops, and this is a fast speedway with wide roads. It's possible to do the whole race without needing to use the brakes, just so long as the player can find the correct racing line. Once the final race has been won, the player will be presented with a trophy. They'll then speak to the manager of whatever team they raced for one last time, where the manager will explain to them how the side drama they were caught up in has all worked out in the end. An epilogue then plays, and that's the end of Real Racing Routes 99. When back at the main menu, the player can view the cars they've unlocked in their garage, and if they're feeling artistic, they can create decals for them. Now, here's a question. How many cars do you think are in this game? Well, all in all, there's 320 to unlock. A lot more than you thought, right? But how's that possible? Each racing team has a total of 80 cars that can be unlocked. This breaks down to 20 cars per manufacturer for each team. 19 of these cars are won by racing in the Grand Prix, and it's all determined by the player's performance. For example, in the first heat, if the player finishes first in both races, they'll be rewarded with one car, but if they finish first in one race, then second in the other, they'll be rewarded with a different car, and so on. As mentioned, this is all performance based, so the better the player does, the faster the car will be that they're rewarded with, and vice versa. To unlock the final car for each manufacturer, the player will need to race and beat them all in Extra Trial mode. Extra Trial mode is made available once a single Grand Prix has been won. The cars that the player races against are insane looking and really quick. Just look at this one. I mean, wow. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully that last bit made sense and didn't sound like a load of gibberish. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe if you want to see more big breakdowns like this. We've got many more gaming stories to explore. Thanks again, hopefully see you on the next video.